Question. She writes, "Hey Alex, so WB is getting sued over Matrix 4 being released in HBO Max. Do you think this lawsuit is necessary given the circumstances that the world was facing these last 2 years?" Well, thank you for your question, Iris. So if you guys don't know, it was being reported earlier today that Warner Brothers is being sued for putting HBO Max, putting Matrix 4, Matrix Resurrection on HBO Max. Essentially, what it's saying is that it didn't get its theatrical run like other movies, and the movie in itself lost money, not just in the theaters, but also putting it on streaming. Now, to your question, you're asking me, do I think it's necessary for WB being sued over this? And if I'm being honest, yes. Yes, because here's the thing. And I kind of liken it to what I stated earlier during the beginning stages of our world crisis, right? Um, Putting these $1 million tentpole movies on streaming services did nothing for the studio. They lost money. Every movie that went to a streaming service that had the intentions of being in the theater lost money. Lost money. Even the Disney Marvel movies, Black Widow, lost money. Even Mulan, that was the first that came out, lost money. All of the HBO Max and theater simultaneous release, all of those movies lost money. Mortal Kombat probably was the only one that got a green light to make a sequel amongst the other movies that came out that had like, for instance, King Richard, somewhat of a good movie, but it lost money because it was on HBO Max. Same thing with Kong versus Godzilla. Same thing with Wonder Woman 84. I mean, there were so many things that came out over that course of time that lost money. So, do I think WB should have been sued over some of those properties? And my answer to that is absolutely, because Spider-Man No Way Home didn't have a streaming service to go to, and look at the money that it made. Same thing with Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi didn't go to Disney Plus and theaters. It just went to theaters and it made some money. Eternals, same thing. So when you look at movies that have come out that didn't have a simultaneous streaming service release, they made their money. Now, granted, keep in mind the world crisis. I'm refusing to say the other word so I don't get dinged on YouTube. But what we were going through during that time, there were other movies that came out that made money. Venom made $90 million its first weekend. So Venom 2 is definitely a better film than, the previous one. But let's be clear, Venom 2 probably would have made more money if we weren't in the situation that we're in. Same thing with these other films that could have come out. So by its merit, yes, I can understand why WB is being sued. Now, I guarantee you this won't go to trial. They'll definitely settle. They'll settle on a certain amount, or they'll settle on something. But I do know this, that, at one point, Legendary was suing Warner Brothers, and Legendary is on the lot of Warner Brothers. So, I understand where some of these studios and producers and directors are feeling some type of way about their projects being on streaming services, but I also understand on somewhat of the studio side saying that, the general public, most of us couldn't go to the theaters, or we're not going to go to the theaters because of this current situation, right? But as things started to lift and as the restrictions started to lift, people were going to the theaters. I know for a fact when I went to go see Spider-Man No Way Home, my theater was packed full of people and there was no social distancing. And not just with that, but with same thing with when I went to go see Venom, same thing when I went to go see Shang-Chi. There was no social distancing. So for me, there was a lot of money that was being lost by putting it on streaming services. I've said that if they continue this model, theaters are just going to go out of business, and we won't see any major movie blockbusters come out in the same way that they have been coming out over the course of years. So I'm in support of this. Unfortunately, hey, it is what it is. And keep in mind, Matrix 4 is definitely not in my opinion, it's definitely not a movie I would have paid to go see in theaters. However, there is a fan base for it where people would have paid money to go see it in theaters. So I understand why the people who feel this way are suing Warner Brothers. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this lawsuit is necessary? Do you think Warner Brothers should not be taking a hit for this? Jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts.